Hello and welcome to Tax Matters. My name is Olumuyiwa Matuluko. A revolution is afoot. We are indeed on our journey to the next level. You will recall that time there was in this country when the budget cycle was January to December. That stopped a long time ago. Well, we have good news for you. For the very first time in a long time, Nigeria seems to be returning to the January to December budget cycle. On Tuesday, the 8th of October 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari presented the 2020 appropriation bill to a joint session of the National Assembly. The 2020 appropriation bill was for the first time accompanied by what is known as the finance bill. That again is another first, and we will be telling you in a moment what the finance bill means. In recent years, the federal government budgets have been presented late to the National Assembly, leading of course to late passage, with the concomitant effect that when funds get eventually released around June or July into the new year, the rains will have set in, making it almost impossible to embark on the most needed road and building constructions. That is about to change. The government of President Muhammadu Buhari has shown that it means business by presenting the budget in October, early October. And the National Assembly, as you will hear presently, has also demonstrated its willingness to key into that resolve. So on this episode of Tax Matters, we are going to be dissecting the 2020 budget speech of President Buhari, and we'll be bringing you the highlights of the things in that speech that concern taxes and taxation. As we brought to you in a story on this program a few episodes ago, the 2020 appropriation bill is accompanied by a finance bill. A finance bill contains proposed amendments to tax laws and regulations, and this is expected going forward to be a yearly event. So, bye-bye to 10 years amendment to tax laws. Every year, the government will take steps to plug loopholes and to chart the way forward.
Accompanying the 2020 budget proposal is a finance bill for your kind consideration and passage into law. This finance bill has 5 strategic objectives in terms of achieving incremental but necessary changes to our fiscal laws. These objectives are: A, promoting fiscal equity by mitigating instances of regressive taxation. B, reforming domestic tax laws to align with global best practices. C, introducing tax incentives for investments in infrastructure and capital markets. D, supporting micro, small, and medium-sized businesses in line with our ease of doing business reforms. And E, raising revenues for government.
Following the earlier approval of the increase in the rate of VAT in Nigeria from 5% to 7.5% by the Federal Executive Council, the executive is sending, as part of the finance bill, an amendment to the VAT Act. But more importantly, in a bid to ameliorate the impact of the rate increase on the vulnerable in the society, the federal government is proposing an expansion of the VAT exemption list. That is to say, expanding the number of goods and services that will not be liable to VAT.
The draft finance bill proposes an increase of the VAT rate from 5 to 7.5%. As such, the 2020 appropriation bill is based on this new VAT rate. The additional revenues will be used to fund health, education, and infrastructure programs. As the states and local governments are allocated 85% of all VAT revenues, we expect to see greater quality and efficiency in their spending in these areas as well. The VAT Act already exempts pharmaceuticals, educational items, and basic commodities, which exemptions we are expanding under the Finance Bill 2019. Specifically, Section 46 of the Finance Bill 2019 expands the exempt items to include the following: 1. Brown and white bread. B. Cereals including maize, rice, wheat, millet, barley, and sorghum. C. Fish of all kinds. D. Flour and starch meals. E. Fruits, nuts, pulses, and vegetables of various kinds. F. Roots such as yam, cocoa yam, sweet, and Irish potatoes. G. Meat and poultry products, including eggs. H. Milk. I. Salt and herbs of various kinds. And J. Natural water and table water.
Another highlight of the proposed amendment to the VAT Act is the proposal that companies with turnover below 25 million naira per annum will no longer be required to act as VAT collecting agents.
Additionally, our proposals also raise the threshold for VAT registration to 25 million naira in turnover per annum, such that the revenue authorities can focus their compliance efforts on larger businesses, thereby bringing relief for our micro, small, and medium businesses.
On efforts to improve revenue generation,
it is absolutely essential to intensify our revenue generation efforts. That said, this administration remains committed to ensuring that the inconvenience associated with any fiscal policy adjustments is moderated, such that the poor and the vulnerable, who are most at risk, do not bear the brunt of these reforms. The sum of 8.155 trillion naira is estimated as the total government revenue in 2020 and comprises oil revenue 2.64 trillion naira, non-oil tax revenues of 1.81 trillion naira, and other revenues of 3.7 trillion naira. This is 7% higher than the 2019 comparative estimate of 7.594 trillion naira, inclusive of the government-owned enterprises. The increasing share of non-oil revenues underscores our confidence in our revenue diversification strategies. Although government's actual spending has reduced, our plans to leverage private sector funding through our tax credit schemes will ensure our capital programs are sustained. For example, we launched the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme, pursuant to which I have approved the construction or rehabilitation of 19 Nigerian roads and bridges of 794.4 kilometers across 11 states. Indeed, the scheme has attracted private investment of over 205 billion naira, and the first set of tax credits are being processed by the Federal Ministry of Finance and Budget Planning.
Earlier in his welcome address, President of the Senate and Chairman of the National Assembly, Senator Dr. Ahmed Lawan, assured the nation of speedy consideration of the budget proposals and quick passage of same.
The National Assembly, after the receipt of the budget estimates today, will swing into swift action to start work Both chambers of the National Assembly have constituted their committees. We are therefore ready to start processing the budget estimates. The 9th National Assembly has shown capacity, commitment, and willingness to treat legislative matters that will impact on the lives of our citizens with dispatch and every sense of urgency. This was clearly demonstrated last week when we received, processed, and passed the request of Mr. President on the 2020-2022 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, MTEF FSP. Your Excellency, the National Assembly will treat the 2020 budget estimates with the same commitment or even more. In our efforts to pass the budget, we will, however, also be guided by the legislative requirement of a thorough scrutiny. Mr. President, the National Assembly committees are ready to receive the honorable ministers and other heads of government agencies for the defense of the budget estimates of the various MDAs. In order for timely passage, all MDAs are expected to appear before the committees for the defense of their budget estimates within the month of October. We have earmarked the month of October to be the sole window for all budget defense activities in this year by all MDAs. In this regard, our committees will be expected to conclude budget defense within October this year. The subsequent necessary legislative work will be carried out in November and December, leading to eventual passage before the end of this year.
We await with bated breath the clean copy of the 2020 appropriation bill before the end of December 2019. That will be a first. That will be a feat. Next level indeed.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria, and the mantra is change. The wind of change is blowing all over Nigeria and beckons to you. One sure way to respond is to perform your civic duty, pay your tax. With taxes, government generates revenue to fulfill its electoral promises, ensure regular power supply, provide good security, standard education, medical care, true total change. Individuals and corporations enjoy specific benefits, rights and privileges for paying taxes and avoid the consequences and penalties of not paying. Oil revenue is no longer sufficient to bring desired change, but your tax can. It pays to pay your tax. A message from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
In 2018, a total of 5.320 trillion naira was collected as taxes by the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS). This is the highest ever collected as federal taxes in Nigeria. Taxes have become an important source of revenue, enabling the government to provide greater infrastructural developments in our country. Tax revenues enable government to provide more roads, more railways, more bridges, more housing, more schools, more students in schools, more hospitals, more security, and generate more power. Because Nigeria deserves more. Only your taxes can make all our dreams come true. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS. It pays to pay your tax.
Welcome back. We did say at the beginning of the episode that a key component of government income, or revenue if you like, is tax, which is why in Nigeria, the Federal Inland Revenue Service at the national level and the State Boards of Internal Revenue at the subnational levels are the most important organs of government. To run government, funds are required, and majorly these funds are derived from taxes. To collect taxes efficiently, enumeration is key. You must know your taxpayers and prospective taxpayers alike. All over the world, taxpayer identification number is used to uniquely identify taxable individuals and corporate bodies. The taxpayer identification number system has always been existent in Nigeria, but in recent time, the system has been taken to the next level. On the 1st of July 2018, the taxpayer identification number system and the consolidated taxpayer database went live. That is to say, registering as a taxpayer became doable within the comfort of the home or the office 24/7. The launching has since been done in Lagos for the Southwest on July 18, 2019, and on Thursday, the 3rd of October 2019, the Team Go Live train went to Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, for the North Central Zone.
I declare this open to the glory of God, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Chief Oseni Elama is the Executive Secretary Joint Task Board, drivers of the Taxpayer Identification Number Scheme Registration System, and hosts of the Consolidated Taxpayer Database.
As the pace of global development continues to be determined by innovations inspired by information and communication technology, it has become imperative that domestic revenue tax administration meets up with the emerging trends. The new TIN registration system and its consolidated database of individuals and corporate taxpayers have been designed to form the foundation upon which the nation's automated tax administration system is built.
The Executive Secretary of the Joint Task Board dwelt further on the benefits of the new TIN system.
By leveraging on the existing data from relevant identity management agencies, the new system reduced the burden of multiple registration of taxpayers, as well as promoting the ease of doing business and paying taxes. It also ensures a seamless integration and exchange of information amongst relevant stakeholders within and outside Nigeria.
Mr. Babatunde Fowler, Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, is the chairman of the Joint Task Board.
The new TIN registration system is geared towards reinforcing the laudable efforts of this administration towards building a robust tax revenue administration system for the country. And it aims to improve the ease of tax compliance while ensuring a sustainable and inclusive economy for all Nigerians. The new TIN registration system improves on the efficiency and the output of the entire tax administration process. And it's also meant to provide enhanced convenience to taxpayers, as well as the tax administrators, while guaranteeing that each taxpayer's details are readily available to them at their fingertips at all times and anywhere. And when we say anywhere, we mean anywhere in the world.
That is the crux of the matter. It is now possible for the taxpayer to view, retrieve, and update his or her tax profile from anywhere in the world 24/7. It's a new dawn. Technology to the rescue. Next level. For a successful execution and implementation of the new TIN registration system and the Consolidated Taxpayer Database, the Joint Task Board is working in close collaboration with sister government agencies. Executive Governor Kwara State, His Excellency Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, was ably represented by the Deputy Governor, His Excellency Mr. Kayode Alabi, who performed the formal launching on behalf of the Governor.
This is the new taxpayer identification number certificate. So for everybody that is registered under this system, will be issued this certificate. And this certificate, you can also generate it yourself from the system and print it out.
Mr. Orisheyi Adewale, Project Manager for the TIN project at the Joint Task Board, presented the functionality of the TIN system.
The JTB TIN registration system is designed to serve all taxpayers and tax authorities. The system is developed to integrate with existing reliable identity management systems in Nigeria. It is designed to pull and push taxpayer data from agencies such as Corporate Affairs Commission, Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, Central Bank of Nigeria, Federal Road Safety Commission, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Stock Exchange, Central Securities Clearing System, and so on and so forth. It registers and assigns TIN automatically once they are captured by these agencies. Insights derived from data mining will be readily shared with tax authorities with the aim of aiding the growth of revenue generation for government. Integration technology is the backbone of this architecture. Taxpayers who have been registered with JTB before, we still retain their taxpayer identification number and do not need to register again because the existing databases we have been harmonized and consolidated into a single national database. If you are with your phone now, you can go onto the Google Store or iOS Apple Store and download this application free. It is named JTB app. Like I said, it has multiple modules. The first one at the top left corner is the TIN registration. That is the sample of the TIN certificate for Mr. Dare Akpogun, and it belongs to Kwara State Board of Internal Revenue. I am telling you that the system is working, the system is simple to use, the system is very robust, the system is secure.
The TIN certificate of the Kwara State Governor, His Excellency Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, was presented to the Deputy Governor for onward delivery.
Your Excellency, it is indeed a pleasure to present this TIN certificate to you for the Governor of Kwara State. As his representative, if you could please deliver this to him. I'll just explain to His Excellency that if we put a QR code on your smartphone on this, it will read the Governor's information. But we can't do that in his absence. But I assure you, sir, we'll also have one of these for you to further show you the demonstration. So it's my honor to present this to you. And I believe in doing this, we're doing it on behalf of Nigeria. Because every taxpayer that contributes to Nigeria, loves Nigeria, is obeying his civic responsibility and is helping Nigeria to get better. We thank you, sir.
We conclude our story of the launching of the new TIN registration system in the north-central zone of Nigeria with this endorsement from the new executive chairman of the Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, Mrs. Folashade Omoniyi. And of course, we pay our due respects to the immediate past chairman of the Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, Professor Muritala Awodun, who has been largely adjudged to have performed outstandingly on the job.
This initiative of the new JTB National TIN PIN registration is the heartbeat of proper taxpayer identification and payment collection. The new TIN system has utilized modern technologies to bring together existing data from several sources in an ingenious way to make the enrollment and administration process seamless and effective. JTB has also set a new standard in data sharing across agencies in Nigeria. We have adopted the new TIN system completely, and it is now fully operational at KWRS. And we will ensure that we include it as a compulsory requirement for all our processes involving taxpayers. Lastly, I want to appreciate my predecessor, Professor Muritala Awodun, for his selfless service and for taking Kwara Internal Revenue Service to where it is today. Your contribution to KWRS in particular and JTB at large has been commendable and will forever be written in gold in the history books. As I take over from you where you left off, I will take the baton of revenue mobilization from where you have left it to greater heights by the grace of God Almighty.
There you are. The 2020 Appropriation Act is around the corner. And of course, registering as a taxpayer has become as easy as ABC. Go online today and register as a taxpayer and be ready to play your role as a citizen of this great country. We thank you for watching. See you next week.